This video feature, brought to you by Concrobium Mold Solutions, eliminates and prevents mold, bleach-free and guaranteed. This project video tip is for a pergola that I designed for Mother Earth, and I want to show you a few details, beginning with the front view here. This is the open part of the pergola. This is where you might put a bench or a chair and enjoy some time inside of it. This is the side view here. The front is this end on the side. There's lattice here for climbing plants. Really makes quite a nice effect when you get this completely surrounded by plants. The main thing I want to show you on this page is the end of the roof boards. This is the detail here with the shape I designed. That's the regular view in the plan there. The main thing to understand is that the grain runs this way on these pieces of wood, and that means that right here is vulnerable to breakage. There's not a lot of wood there. So I installed some long structural screws in there to strengthen that, just to help it last. It's very important that these be pre-drilled. Otherwise you're going to crack and ruin your roof board. So pre-drill, drive a long screw in there and it'll hold together very well. This next page is all about setting the posts, and it's a pretty important part of the project. There are 6 in my design, and they all have to be perfectly straight up and down. That's the main thing. These 2x4 braces really do a lot to help make that happen. They're fastened with a single screw that allows them to swivel down so that the end of the 2x4 can be kind of jammed into the ground. And that's enough to hold that post in whatever plumb position you put it in. The distances between posts are important, and the size of the holes you drill really has something to do with that. By leaving some leeway around the post, you've got the chance to move the posts back and forth as needed to get the dimensions correct before you start filling in with soil. Now, it's very important that you only put in about 4 or 5 inches of soil into the hole at a time, and then pound it down so that it's compressed as much as it can be before adding more soil. That makes for a really solid installation. At this stage, all the posts are going to be different heights. There's no way they can all be the same height, the height they need to be, and that's where this page comes in. They're longer than necessary. Your job now is to cut them so that they're the right length. You need to start by marking a level spot on all 6 posts. You can use a water level for this. A very long spirit level will work fine too, a laser level if you've got one. Bottom line is that you have to have a level point marked for cutting the top of the posts so they're all in the same plane. Now, this is a 4-part cut to create a pyramid shape on the top of the posts. This is a lot of trouble, a lot more trouble than cutting it square, but it's pretty important for good looks. There's 4 cuts involved at an angle about 15 degrees from square. It really makes for a nice look. Now the next thing is to mark level positions for the notches that hold the beams. This is done the same way as marking the top of the posts. You need to make saw curves here and then knock the waste out with a chisel in order to create the notches that you need. The main thing here is to work safely. 1 frame of scaffolding will go a long way to helping you stay safe while you do this work on the posts. This next page is all about installing the roof boards. It's pretty important too. We've got the post there. There are the beams. Those are all in place. Everything's bolted up. And now you've got your roof boards. It's okay to go ahead and prepare the ends. That's not critical. You can also cut them all to length too. But what you can't do ahead of time is make the notches. The notches actually need to be custom cut because the distance between the beams is not necessarily consistent. And try as you might, the distance is not going to be perfectly consistent and parallel across. So you need to custom cut the notches in the roof board so it settles down. If those notches aren't located correctly, you'll never get them down over the beam. So you need to cut the notch in each roof board as it sits in position after marking it in that position. It's a custom cutting arrangement. It sounds like a lot of trouble, but it's not really. And it shouldn't amount to a lot of difference in the notch distance and spacing, but it can be critical depending on how things are going together. This is the lattice. This is the structure that forms the sides of the pergola. The top and bottom pieces are 4x4s in my design. The smaller strips are 1.5 by 1.5, cut from regular 2x lumber. Now, one thing to understand here is the way I've fastened the 4x4s. They're not directly mounted into the post. That would be difficult to do. Instead, I mount these outer strips to the post with some structural screws, and then notch the 4x4 so it fits around that strip. It's that connection right there that holds the 4x4 in place, and it does a great job. And it's also very simple. It's an easy thing to do. Anyone can handle that. Now the strips here, they're only fastened with bolts at the top and bottom. There's no need to fasten them where they intersect each other.